What's up, Hokie fans? This is Coach Mike Holmes with the Sons of Saturday coming to you with this week's installment of the 10-Minute Tailgate. Each week on the 10-Minute Tailgate, we provide you with a curated recipe and cocktail to help you better enjoy your Hokie viewing experience. This week, after a victorious Friday night double overtime win against the Cal Golden Bears, your Virginia Tech Hokies play host to the University of Louisville. The Cardinals come into Blacksburg. They're playing pretty well. They've lost, unfortunately, to the Wahoos earlier this year in overtime as well. Hopefully, the Hokies will give them a good game in Lane Stadium. The recipe for this week, going to do something again that's more relation to the school rather than directly from Louisville itself. It is Halloween. The weather has started to turn a little bit, especially here in Colorado. It's in the 40s right now. And what we're going to do, Halloween is this weekend. Halloween is Friday. We're going to do something that I do every Halloween. It needs something warm. You come in from trick or treating, and the kids need something in their bellies outside of candy. So I always have this ready, and we actually have a big group of people coming over to the house to do kind of an adult Halloween while the kids are out trick or treating. So we're going to make a big pot of chili and to have ready to serve for these fine folks. So I'm going to show you how I make a recipe. It's been modified slightly, but it was passed down from my dad, and my grandfather showed him how to make it. And this is something that we've always done in my family and kind of made it this way. So let's go ahead and get started with it. We're going to take a couple breaks during this episode too, so because we do have to allow it to cook and things. So first thing we're going to do, before I talk about my ingredients, is I'm going to get my pot going, and I want to go ahead and get this pot set on a medium to medium high heat, because the first thing we're going to do is put our meat in the pot. So I have two types of meat here. I have some 80-20 ground beef to give it a little extra fatty flavor, and I have about 1.5 pounds here. So we're going to drop that 1.5 pounds of ground beef in there. The next thing I'm going to add, once we get this all broken up here, in the bottom of the pot, wait for that sizzle to start. I'm going to go ahead and get it seasoned a little bit with some black pepper and some table salt. I never cook anything without seasoning it. It's very rare that I will do that. But this seasoning, just a little bit of salt here and a couple pinches or pepper here and maybe a couple pinches of salt, one big pinch of salt, that'll do. And we'll get that all mixed up in there. And there's going to be plenty of salt in this when you see all the extra stuff we add to it. But it also I like to get that flavor ingrained into the meat. So once we get that going, we're going to put in our sausage. Now I have 1 pound of beef smoked sausage, and I've cut it into quarters. So I cut it into slices, and then I cut those slices lengthwise to give these little half moon shapes. They cook down perfect, and it's just a great addition to this, and you'll see kind of what it looks like at the end. So go ahead and get that in there. And we'll get that all mixed up, and we'll let them all cook together. That way the fat from the smoked sausage will infuse with the ground beef, and we'll get that all nice and browned. So again, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to let this meat brown. And when we come back, we'll be ready to throw in the rest of our ingredients. See you in just a minute. Okay, welcome back. We have let our beef and sausage mixture, we've let it brown and simmer, and you can see that on the pot there. If you choose to drain it, you can. I like to leave those juices in there and then skim them off the top later. That way the full flavor gets infused all the way through the chili. So now here comes the fun part. So adding all the ingredients. So we're going to start with our tomatoes, and then we're going to blend that together. So start with a can, 28 ounces of diced tomatoes, and don't drain it. Leave the juices in there. And we'll dump that can in there. Then we'll go to our crushed tomatoes. Another 28 ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Add those as well. And again, this is a big batch. This batch will serve 12. So keep that in mind. If you're making this at home, you could reduce the volume of what you put in there. Little tomato sauce. I have a 15-ounce can here. I'm not going to use the full 15 ounces. I'll probably use about 3/4 of it. So I'll dump that in there because there's already a lot of juices in there, and I'm going to add some more. And then I'm going to add a can of Rotel. This is tomatoes and green chilies. Get the original. If you like a mild flavor, they do make a mild flavor if you don't want it that spicy. But that's diced tomatoes and green chilies. And so we'll add that. Now that we got that in there, we have some extra liquid infused. We'll stir and we'll add that all up to our meat mixture. And we'll get that nice and folded and worked in. And it's already getting there. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my spice. Okay. If you put your spice on at the end, especially if you got a larger pot, every time you mix it, you could get some air bubbles escape and it'll just kind of poof that stuff everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that in now while I have a little bit more room. So this is just regular store-bought chili mix. Again, we're trying to make this easy to something that you could do over a burner if you had on the ingredients with you at the tailgate, especially if it's a cooler day out. And I mix a pack of the original with the pack of the hotter flavor, and it kind of cuts the heat just a little bit, but you still get all that nice flavor. So we're going to sprinkle that on top. Get some of these cans out of the way. Then we'll give that a stir. And again, just be careful. You don't want to get that dust flying around you as you're kind of folding that over and in and mixing that all in. Again, you can make this at the tailgate. You can make this ahead of time and reheat it. Sometimes a lot of people think it's better on the second day. I'm one of those people. Good day-old chili where they've had a really long time for those flavors to come together. It's a really good thing. Now we're going to get to our beans. With the beans, always start with chili beans with the sauce. So don't drain the juice out of these. Leave that sauce in there. This chili beans, I'm going to go 2 cans. These are just pinto beans that have been marinating in some chili spice and some chili powder and cumin and other spices. Next, I'm going to go for the black beans. 1 can of black beans. I do drain these. And then I have 1 can of light red kidney beans and 1 can of dark red kidney beans. They're a little different flavor profile. I like to have a little mix in there. So we'll go ahead and add those. So if you notice, there's 5 different beans, 2 different meats in this chili. And we're going to get that all stirred in and mixed together. And you'll notice, depending on, I've done this recipe enough with this particular setup. I know how big my pot is. I know what it can hold. So it's, again, it's up to you to know what you have and to adjust these ingredients accordingly. So now that those are all mixed together, I'm going to add the secret ingredient. Well, it's not really a secret, but can of Coors Banquet or any type of a beer, use light beer, whatever you have. We always have Coors Banquet in the house out here in Colorado. It's the only beer that still comes out of the original Coors facility in Golden, Colorado. But take 1 12-ounce beer and just pour that right on top. About 3/4 of the way through the can. Then you can finish the rest. So, and if you are worried about there being alcohol or if you don't drink, don't worry about it. When this starts simmering and boiling, all the alcohol out of that beer will be boiled off and you're just left with kind of that added flavor. And so we'll go ahead and get this all stirred and mixed in here. Man, it's already looking fantastic. If you can see it on your screens, it's looking great. Now, what's really important is letting this simmer. Okay, you can bring it up to a boil if you want to, and then just kind of cool it down real quick. But then those flavors, all the different flavors that we've incorporated in here, they don't have a chance to fully blend together. So what I want to do is I'm going to put my lid on top of this, and I'm going to set my temperature about medium low. And while we're waiting for here with this medium low, is we want to let it come up naturally to its own simmer, and then we'll just keep stirring it and keep stirring it and keep stirring it. What's going to happen is those beans are going to fall to the bottom, and they can stick to the bottom of your pan if you're not careful. So just keep stirring it. You want to stir it maybe every 15, 20, 25 minutes or so, and just keep that going. You want it to simmer for at least 90 minutes. Okay, so at least an hour and a half. And then when that's all done, those flavors will have melted together, and then we'll show you how to serve it here in just a little bit. So we're going to let this simmer on its own. We'll be right back with our beverage for this week. See you all in a minute. All right, folks, welcome back. We have got our chili simmering over here to my left, and we'll go back and stir that again here in just a second. Right now, because we are playing the Louisville Cardinals, because Louisville is the bourbon capital of the world, we are going to do a bourbon tasting flight. So I have a selection of my own my own bourbons here, and we're just going to do a little tasting of these. And so hopefully you can enjoy this awesome chili with the bourbon of your choice and watch the Hokies off to victory. So we're going to start with Maker's. Maker's Mark is a standard. You can find it in most every liquor store, no matter where in the country you live. And so we're going to start with Maker's here, and I'm just going to do a little bit here over ice. It is 46% alcohol here, so it's a little on the lighter side as far as the proof goes on these. But Maker's Mark, you can see it's a little bit lighter in color than some of the other ones we're going to try, and so here it is. Here's a little bit of Maker's Mark. It's just enough to coat the tongue. It's a phenomenal taste. Again, it's a standard. It's a classic. You can pretty much find it anywhere. But that's our Maker's Mark. Now, next one I'm going to show you is probably a little bit harder to find, depending on where you are and where the allocation comes from. But this is Traveler. This is a blend of whiskeys that came from the Buffalo Trace Distillery outside of Louisville. And this was done in conjunction with Harlan Wheatley, who is the master distiller, and Chris Stapleton. And they kind of put a blend of different stuff together that they had at Buffalo Trace. And it's a really nice, easy sipping, easy drinking bourbon. I can see it's a little darker in color than the Makers. And so we'll do a little taste of that. Again, just enough to kind of coat the tongue a little bit. Now, it's a little darker in color, like I said. A couple of notes, a little bit of vanilla in there. It's going to be a little sweeter than most. Most of the stuff from Buffalo Trace is going to be a little sweeter tasting and not quite as peppery as some of the others like Maker's Mark. But again, very good sipping whiskey. That's super nice and smooth. Again, as you're tasting it, you get a little caramel, get a little vanilla in there. But it's still light. It's not overpowering. It doesn't burn on the way down. None of these ones we're trying are really going to burn on the way down. But again, Traveler from Buffalo Trace Distillery, you can find this in most, actually the one in the ABC store in Blacksburg carries it. So you can pick it up there if you're looking for something for the tailgate this week. The next one we're going to go to, we're going to stay in the Buffalo Trace family, and we're going to go to Weller's Special Reserve. Now, this is an allocated bourbon, which means they decide at the Buffalo Trace Distillery what states get what, and then the state sends it around to the different places, and they give it to different folks based on how much they sell. I don't know what their math is, but again, it is allotted. So if you get your hands on it, it's great. Funny story, though, when we were in college, people my age in the late 90s, early 2000s, it had a different label, different white label, and you could get it on the bottom shelf, and they always had tons of it. And then over the course of a few years, it's gotten a little bit more notoriety, and so now, and along with that, the price tag has gone up. I was lucky enough to win one of these in an auction. So So or a giveaway. But this is Weller's Special Reserve. It is 45% alcohol, 90 proof. So again, it's a little on the lighter side, but you can see the color on that. Still, we're getting a little bit darker, a little bit higher quality. The funny thing about Buffalo Trace Distillery is that pretty much the same grain bill that they use to make these bourbons are used in all of them. So whether it's Weller's, whether it's Traveler, whether it's Buffalo Trace, the old standard, no matter what it is, if it comes from Buffalo Trace Distillery, it's going to have the same or very similar grain bill, and the way they age it is going to be the big difference in all of these. So again, here is a little bit of Weller's Special Reserve. Okay, much like the Traveler, it's very smooth going down. There's not a lot of mystery there. You get some vanilla notes, a little bit more pepper notes in the Wellers. So if you do like kind of the little sweet, but you're going to have a little bit of black pepper feel to that, you're really going to like the Weller Special Reserve. Now, next one we're going to go to is the Calumet 15-year. My beautiful, awesome wife got this for me in last year, 2 years ago, actually, when it was our 15th anniversary. And so she got me a nice 15-year bottle of Calumet from Calumet Farms. It is 52.5%, 105 proof. So it is very stout, very potent, or more potent rather than the other ones that we've tried. And it is, again, a super nice, easy tasting bourbon. And again, because it is so high, such high or more high in alcohol, I'm only doing a little bit here. But we'll get it, roll it around with our stone a little bit. You can see the color on that is still, we're getting a little darker. So the higher alcohol you get, the drier finish you're going to have because that alcohol just evaporates once it hits your tongue. But again, it's still very, very smooth. There's almost some cherry and currant notes in there, along with that vanilla and that same peppery finish that you get from the Wellers. So Calumet Farms, if you find anything from them, they have an 8-year, they have a 10-year. They just rolled out their 16-year last year. So if you find one of these that's one of the higher end ages, go ahead and grab that if you can. It's a phenomenal bourbon. And the last one we're going to go to is kind of one of the more sought after ones out there, and that's Blanton's. And Blanton's is also made it's in Frankfort, Kentucky, the Blanton Distilling Company, and I believe they may have been purchased by Buffalo Trace. I'm not 100% sure, but the most collectible thing about this, other than the whiskey inside, are the corks. All the corks. There are 7, Blantons. All right, so there are 7 corks spelled Blantons. Each one has a little letter on the bottom, and if you spell out Blantons, it's actually like a zoetrope of a Kentucky Derby horse galloping across. And so if you collect all of them, it's really kind of a neat thing to be able to collect all of the different corks and have those there. So this Blanton's, once again, this is a 46%, 46.5% ABV. So it's 93 proof. Cool thing about each one of these bottles, there's always handwritten on there exactly what we got, or where they made it, who made it, what bottle number it is. So this is bottle number 189 that was bottled on December 17th of 2020. So again, this is, hopefully I won't get COVID from it, knock on wood. But again, a very, very good bourbon. They proof every single bottle. And again, this is one of my favorites. You can see the bottle's almost empty. But it's one of those, another one that's allocated. It's harder to find. If you can get your hands on it, I highly recommend. And there are a couple of different other styles you can find too. There's a gold label. There's a red label. You can get different, but this is just a single barrel bourbon that is fantastic. So see, a color is not quite as dark as some of the other ones that we've had. It's a little bit on the lighter side. But here's the Blantons. Again, it's one of my favorites. It's so smooth going down, and it has the tiniest little bit of peppery notes at the end. It is a fantastic sipping whiskey. So if you are watching the Hokies and you're eating your chili, if you have your hand on some Blanton's, it'll pair very well together with everything that we got going on today. So, all right. Thank you for tuning in, folks. We'll come right back in a minute and we'll show you what our chili looks like when it's done. And, all right, welcome back to the last bit of this 10-minute tailgate. And this may run a little longer because of my bourbon tasting than 10 minutes. So I apologize for that, but I think you really will enjoy that. So our chili has been resting for or been simmering now for over an hour and a half, and it's ready to go. So we are going to give it one last stir and then serve. So we're going to make sure all those beans and meat and everything else that has come off the bottom gets re-infused with everything. Just kind of make sure it gets all mixed in there. And then we're going to serve. So I just have my bowl, my ladle. So I'm just going to get a little bit of dip here. Make sure I get a little bit of everything. Perfect. Now, I like to serve this with a little sour cream and a little cheese. So I'm going to get my cheese and take a little pinch of cheese and sprinkle that on top. Then I'm going to get my sour cream with my spoon that I'm going to eat with in just a minute and give it a quick stir. Mix it all in there. Sour cream and the cheese add some flavor, but it also takes a little bit of the heat away if you're worried about that. So here we go. Here's a bite of the chili right out of the pot. Hopefully I don't burn my mouth. Man, chef's kiss. It's fantastic, just like I had growing up. And so hopefully you guys will make this. It doesn't have to be for this tailgate. Maybe you'll make it, maybe you'll see it in time for Halloween, be able to make it on Halloween like we do, and go out and enjoy it. I'm going to pour myself another Maker's Mark here and enjoy this chili. And hopefully we'll see you guys back next week for the next installment of the 10-minute tailgate. Thanks to the Sons of Saturday. It was great seeing all those guys at the Cal game last week. Don't forget to follow them on all the social medias. Follow the coaching search updates. Follow the updates on the team and everything else that Phil Montgomery's got going on. Follow Pete and Sam on College Football Monday on Two Deep, which College Football Monday comes out Monday, or Tuesday, Monday Night Live, Tuesday on the podcast feed. Then Wednesday, follow or tune in to Two Deep and make sure to listen to what they got. I got the tailgate with Pete and Sam this weekend too. Got to meet Sam's parents. Awesome time. So thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to follow me at Hokie Hitter, and just put out an update today that was talking about the mastery of what the Hokies did during the bye week with the run game and using the run to set up the pass and everything that Montgomery did on that side. And so stay tuned with everything we got going on there. So thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate y'all. Really appreciate the views every week. Leave me some comments. If you watch this all the way through, give me a comment of your favorite bourbon that you've ever tried. And then I'll try to find it and then put something on Instagram about it. So thanks all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And as always, go Hokies.